ways that you can do things. There's different ways that you can plug into social media and nobody even know you're there. But at the end of the day, we have to talk about why social media is so important, why it's so influential. How can it help us? How can it hurt us? How can it help the church? How can it hurt the church? So, I'm a big statistics guy. So I believe in using statistics and sharing statistics with you. I don't know how well you'll be able to see these things, but I want to tell you something about the statistics that I use. Okay, they are not mine entirely. Some of these we have worked tirelessly to try to find and try to have the most accurate information possible. It tries to be current, it tries to be accurate, and it tries to be something that's informative for you. Okay, so I'm going to ask you this morning, what do you think is the number one social media platform that is currently being used? It's okay, talk back to me. Facebook. Facebook is number one. So, how many of you in here have a Facebook? Oh, shame on every single one of you. No, I'm kidding. I have a Facebook. You know what I use it for? Sharing office memes. That's pretty much what I do. I watch The Office a lot. I love it, so that's what we do. So you probably won't be able to see these very well, and I apologize, but here's the statistics on Facebook, okay? How long do I have? Till I'm done. And that's dangerous. All right. Facebook has 2.8 billion daily active users. This is based on the third quarter of 2021's research. 2.8 billion daily active users. 98.3% of Facebook users access their social media platform on a mobile device. Facebook usage between teenagers has seen a gradual drop from 71% to 67%. 16% of Facebook profiles are duplicate or fake. You ever had somebody steal your picture and create a Facebook profile and try to look like you? That's just because they're jealous. They just want to be you, right? So 16% of all Facebook profiles are fake. It is the most popular social network. 1.2 billion Facebook means that it is the third most accessed and visited Facebook is website page in the entire internet database. So that means it gets 11.2 billion total visits. Now you think about this for just a second. You think about all the stuff that's on the internet, and it's still the third one. Okay? Now you and I know what the first two are. Okay? Let's be honest, right? We're all adults in here. So the first two are pornographic websites. Those are the two most visited sites in the world. Facebook is number 3. Now, I can give you the statistics on which one is 1 and 2, but let's just face it, that's the reality that we live in. Okay, 1 and 2 belong to the pornographic websites, 3 belongs to Facebook. 11.2 billion visits. Video ads. They are designed to perform better than any other ad format on Facebook. Facebook stories have 500 million daily viewers. So, Facebook. It's changed its name to Meta or whatever, but when you think about Facebook, Facebook is where you go and you what? Tell people what's on your mind, right? Right? That's what you go and you do. Type in your status, you put some pictures on, you do all kinds of different things. You share your thoughts with people on Facebook. Now, what are the dangers of Facebook? We're going to talk about all the dangers combined. But the dangers to Facebook are this. Anybody at any time can create a profile and pretend to be somebody that they are totally not. Now, the Christian side of me, the minister side of me wants to bring all that back around, right? And talk about how sometimes we just do that as Christians. We'll show up and we'll act like we're somebody that we're not. We put this fake profile on, and then when we go home, we're somebody totally different. But the dangers to Facebook and the dangers that face us and especially our kids is anybody at any time can pretend to be somebody. And they can engage in conversation with our children. Facebook Messenger for Kids is now a thing. Guess who has access to Facebook Messenger Kids? Anybody. Anybody at any time can log in and talk to your kids if their access to internet is readily available. We have to be careful. There are people that I talk to on Facebook that I haven't talked to in years. It's a great tool. There are family members that we have that live in Alaska. Okay? It took me 6 hours to get to Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I got to get on a boat or a plane and go to Alaska to see these people. Probably not going to do it very often. But I can get on Facebook, I can check on them, I can see pictures, they can see my kids, they can see how things are going in my life. Facebook's a useful tool. We got to be careful how we use it, and we got to be careful how we let people around us use it. All right, what's the next one? How many of you have Instagram? You have Instagram? Well, we're talking when we get in the car. My wife doesn't even follow me on Instagram. What's the deal with this? All right, so Instagram. It is the number 2 visited platform of social media platforms. Instagram it's a little better from a protection standpoint, but we're going to talk about the ease of access for Instagram in just a little bit. Instagram, surprisingly enough, has the highest rate of cyberbullying of all of the social media platforms, but yet it prides itself on being the most protected. So let's talk about some of these statistics on Instagram. And I'll share these with Bob and with Chris so that they can get these to you and you can see these a little better. You can pull them in and really do the research yourself. 90% of Instagram users follow a business profile. So what does that mean? That means business profiles. 90% of all Instagram users follow some sort of business profile. Any kind of business profile. That can be aerospace, what I work in. That can be your church Instagram page. That can be any kind of business profile. It can also be the nasty ones. They have Instagram just like I do. Just like they do. They can access those things. Yes, sir. This is United States data. Okay, so once we'll get into some overall figures in just a second. We'll talk about just global data that kind of consumes us, and it really kind of opens your eyes. So this is United States data alone. Very good question. Thank you for asking.
Explain this 90% again here. 90% of Instagram users follow a business profile.
So
that's what Instagram's primary focus is?
Instagram's primary focus is, that is right. Yeah, so Facebook does own Instagram. The story behind this statistic is 90% of Instagram will be a business profile. So if you scroll through Instagram, the odds are you're going to see very quickly some sort of ad, some sort of sell pitch, some sort of anything. I don't really know how I got on it. Anybody in here know who Dale Brisby is? He's a guy that says, you ain't no cowboy, son. Y'all ever seen this guy? He's a hoot. I mean, he's hilarious. But I've never seen him before. I bought a pair of Ariat boots. And all of a sudden, Dale Brisby shows up everywhere on my Instagram. I don't know what, okay, Alexa, turn off, whatever. I don't know what's happening, but 90% of Instagram posts that are designed by Facebook are a business page. So what does that tell you? Okay, how many of you have an Instagram? Okay, so that's a lot of people, right? Think about that. Think about the sure impact and influence that they have. They've got a hold on this thing. They're going to try to push whatever it is that they're trying to push. Now, there are algorithms and different things like that they're going to follow, and they can pull data, especially from Facebook. Whenever you search something or somebody on Facebook, they can pull their data across platforms, which is really, really dangerous and really, really scary to me. But they can pull all of their information from one platform to another because they own both of them. So anytime you search anything on Facebook, Instagram gets a ding for it. When you go to Instagram, you sign into your profile, you're probably going to see an ad for that on Instagram. It's pretty amazing how the algorithms work. And I don't fully understand it. I'm not going to stand up here and try to tell you that I understand everything about every algorithm that's ever been written. But one thing I do know is once you put it in, once you search it, once you look for it, it's there. That's why we talk about this thing being the footprint, right? What's the number one thing that people look for or investigators look for in a crime scene? They're going to look for DNA and footprints. Why? Easiest to trace. It's the easiest thing to find. So we had a friend who, he was a forensic investigator. And he got out of forensic investigation because it bothered him so much, the things that he was seeing. The way that people are allowed to pull, and they can find anything they want to about you just by simply, I could go to Google and find out things about most of you in here. You can Google my name and I don't know what you'd find. Hopefully you'd find like pictures of Chapel and the boys, because that'd be a lot more encouraging. But the algorithms, the pull, the influence, it's all there. It's all tied together. Once you push it in, it's all there. So remember, when you're searching something, this isn't just for teenagers, this is for everybody. Once you go looking for it and you push it in, you punch it in, you go for it, it's there. Whatever it is you're looking for. Now, you might think you can delete everything and never be traceable. Don't fall into that trap. Don't think that you're above the system. Anything you look for can be traced back to any given time. It's there. It's the footprint. It's not going away. One of the greatest things that I have in my arsenal is a very loud voice. So I like to think that if my kids are involved in something, I can just be like, hey! That's it. Now, they'll push their mother a little bit, right? But it's that aspect of knowing. This is serious stuff. I don't raise my voice a whole lot. But when I do, my kids know something's up. They know that it's time to do something different. It's the same way with your social media. If something goes off in your head about something that you're searching or something that you're looking for and something doesn't feel right, it's time to back up. It's time to go in a different direction. So Instagram is the number 2 platform used. Anything you search on Instagram relates to a business profile. That's sort of the dynamic that we're coming to. Anything you search. You go and you search for me, it's going to try to pull some business profile. It's probably either going to pull where I work. So on my Instagram page, it tells you where I work. So it's probably going to try to pull up Blue Origin. Or it's probably going to try to pull up Amazon, because we're both owned by the same guy. It's going to try to pull up all these different things and try to pull you to different directions, because Instagram is 90% ran by business ads. It's a moneymaker, and it draws us in. All right, let's keep going. A few more stats on Instagram. 80% of Instagram stories that contain and emphasize a call to action perform better. There's 100 million live users that launch or watch a live video on Instagram daily. All right, 83% of Instagram users use the platform to discover new products or new services, just like the amount of people that have a business profile. Instagram ranks 4th in the list of most active social media profile users. Okay, so it's the number 2 used program overall. But for teenagers, it ranks 4th. Why? We'll talk about Snapchat, right? Y'all know what Snapchat is. Snapchat is used the most, but it is the least visited. Okay, and we'll explain that. So what that means is Snapchat is used the most because it's quick. Boom, go. Take a picture, send it. Take a picture, send it. Take a picture, send it, you're done. Facebook tends to draw us in, right? It kind of has that draw power. Instagram has the draw power. So when we say it's the number 1 streamed platform, that means there's the most time spent there. It doesn't mean it's necessarily the most used, it's just the most time spent there. Instagram is 2nd in the amount of time that's used there. It's 4th in the amount of times that it gets used a day. All right, 20.3% over the past 12 months, Instagram advertising audience reach grew by 20%. So their advertising reach, what's that mean is once you log in, you get an ad, you click on the ad. Those people who have worked and have their ads on Instagram have seen an increase in their business by 20%. It's there. They're going after. They're looking. They're searching. They're putting things together that approach us, what we like, what we seek, what we enjoy. Okay, I don't do Pinterest a whole lot, but it's the same thing, right? You go in and you look, and then they'll push stuff on you based on what you've searched, right? It's all the same thing. What about Twitter? Anybody in here have a Twitter page? Okay, I have a Twitter. I like Twitter. It's probably one of my favorites. The only thing, here's what I don't like about Twitter. Okay, I told you I like social media, right? The only thing I don't like about Twitter, on Facebook, if you put up a status and you misspell something or you word something incorrectly, you can go back and edit the post, right? You can change the way you spell something. Twitter doesn't have that. It's all gas, no brakes with Twitter. You have to be an English professor, or sometimes you just like a total weirdo. You don't know what you're saying. 211 million. That's daily active users in the third quarter of 2021. Twitter stands 15th in the list of the world's most active profile users, which means it's always constantly on in the 15th percentile. 83% of all the world's leaders are on Twitter. You want to know what some world leader is doing? Go find him on Twitter. You want to know what he thinks about something? Go find him on Twitter. You want to know what she thinks about something? Go find her on Twitter. That's where most of the heavy hitters play. 42% of all Twitter users have a graduated college degree. They've graduated from college somewhere. 26% of United States users check their Twitter account several times a day. 42% of all registered Twitter visitors use the platform daily. All right, let's talk about this next one. How many of you have TikTok? Ooh, okay. Smaller than I thought. None of y'all have TikTok? None of y'all on this pew? Don't have it? Okay. Let's talk about the dangers of TikTok. I have a TikTok. Okay? It is owned by China. That is a negative thing. Let me tell you why I have TikTok. Some of the greatest chefs on TikTok are inspiring my life. Okay? Do y'all know what a Blackstone grill is? Anybody ever seen those? It's like a flat top grill you use outside. Okay. Man, I love this thing. Now, I don't know how the weather is necessarily in Hattiesburg. Based on what I've gathered, it's a lot like North Alabama. But it gets very humid in North Alabama. Does it get humid down here? Like sticky? Like you walk outside and you're like, okay? So that's how it feels. Here's the only bad part about my Blackstone griddle. It's a ceramic top, right? So it rusts. You have to clean the rust off. In humid North Alabama, guess what it tries to do a lot? It tries to rust a lot. So you have to clean a lot. There is nothing more disappointing than getting ready to go down and throw down some burgers with a fried egg and some bacon. You can do all that on this Blackstone together. If you don't eat eggs on your burger, come talk to me. We'll figure out what's going on in your life. But you put bacon. My mom, who I love, is one of my favorite people. She refuses to eat bacon on her burger. Pigs and cows don't go together. Mom, whatever. So, I have this problem with my Blackstone rusting. Guess what? I get on TikTok. I follow the Blackstone page. Have you ever heard of parchment paper? You know what parchment paper is? I didn't know what that was. But apparently, if you put parchment paper down and you stick something on top of it so that the wind doesn't blow it, guess what your Blackstone top doesn't do? It doesn't rust. So I tried it. And guess what? I don't have a rusty Blackstone anymore. Okay? TikTok saved me. There's nothing more disappointing than going out there, throwing that grill top up, and everything's rusted and you got to clean it again. Trust me. The book says it takes an hour and 15 minutes to clean it. It takes an hour and 15 minutes to clean it. So if you think you get home from work, 5 o'clock, you're like, you know what, I'll go throw it on the grill. I'm really chasing a rabbit here. But then you got to go clean it. TikTok saved me on that one. Of all the social media platforms that we have, I will be very honest with you. This one scares me the most. This one scares me the most. There's no regulation to it. There's no guidance to it. There's a constant stream of filth and just flat, nasty stuff that can come across your screen. Nobody's there to stop it. Nobody's there to filter it. They're allowed to do it. The rules and the guidelines and the regulation of the social media platform that is TikTok, there are none. Now, they will claim that they can suspend accounts and they can make accounts not happen. There's ways around that. There's a backdoor avenue to everything. There's a way to overcome everything. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let you teenagers know something. I'm going to give some parents some good ways to get around things, so just be ready, okay? You may know stuff that I don't know, but trust me, I'll find it eventually, okay? That's what I tell my kids all the time. You can't con the con man. Like, everything you've tried to do, I've already tried to do it, so don't even try. I tell my kids that all the time. When it comes to TikTok, those guidelines that you click accept, it doesn't matter. It's there. It can be there. Whatever they want. This is the one that scares me the most. At the end of September 2021, TikTok announced that it had passed the 1 billion monthly active user figure. TikTok reached 1 billion monthly active users despite being blocked in India, which accounts for 15% of the globe's internet population. Users aged between 18 to 24 makes up about 45% of TikTok's reach. TikTok took considerably less time to reach 1 billion active users than it took Facebook. Women aged 18 to 24 account for a greater share of TikTok's audience than users of any gender aged 35 and over. TikTok is the scariest place out there. Now, this one's not too bad because it has a lot of regulations on it. This one will shut you down in a hurry. In fact, this one shut us down for worship service for a little while because they felt like we had violated their terms of use. It happens, okay? YouTube. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. YouTube accounts for more than 25% of the total worldwide mobile traffic. This is the craziest one. YouTube viewers watch 1 billion plus hours of video content every single day. 1.5 billion hours every day. According to HubSpot, 44% of marketers plan to leverage YouTube for the first time in 2022. On mobile devices alone, YouTube reaches more adults aged 18 to 24 than any TV network. The average YouTube video in 2001 was 10 minutes long. 70% of YouTube watchers take time to place this on their mobile device. That means you can watch YouTube anywhere. Anywhere you have internet capability, you can find YouTube. Now, this next part is more for us to understand what happens inside of social media. Then we're going to talk about ways that we can overcome this. And so some of these statistics, like I said, they're as current as I could possibly imagine them being. It will change. It changes every quarter. But this was accurate at the end of 2021, right? So let's look at these. Cyberbullying is a real problem. Okay, this is a real deal. And I'm afraid that we don't fully understand exactly how big this problem is. We talk about it, and it's becoming more of a prevalent issue. It's becoming something more that we discuss a little bit more openly. But look, I'm just going to be real with you. Okay, let's just call a spade, right? When I grew up, there were certain ways to handle bullying. Okay? And so my mom was always of the mindset of take care of business. That's how I grew up. But it's different now. I didn't have Facebook growing up. Okay, if you wanted to bully somebody, you went face to face and you said something about them. That's what we experienced growing up. But it's so different now. There's so many avenues and so many ways that kids can interact with other kids. I didn't have to deal with that. I didn't have to face that. I didn't have to grow up with that. But some of these statistics are absolutely terrifying. And it's terrifying because there's no real way to stop it. There's no real way to control it or police it. Because at the end of the day, we try to do the right thing, right? When I go to bed every night, one of the first things that goes through my head is, did I try to do everything the right way? Did I do my best to do it the right way? Did I do it with chapel? Did I do it with the boys? Did I do it with the guys I work with? Did I try to do things the best possible way? Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who don't think that way. And there's a lot of people, when they have that mindset and that influence, it wears off on the people around them. It even goes down to our children. So this morning we're going to talk about some statistics that really shock us and really hit us in the face, because it's something that we're going to have to battle. And if I'm honest with you, I think it will get worse. I think it will get worse before it gets better, because as new social media platforms continue to roll out and different things continue to happen and different terms of agreement start to happen, you have different ways that you can interact with people. Our goal is to protect those around us. We'll talk about this a little bit more in our worship time. But when you think about who you are as a Christian, let's forget the digital footprint for just a second. Let's talk about the Christian footprint. Are we doing the most that we can to protect those around us? And a big part of that comes from this right here. Are we teaching people to not bully? Are we teaching people to be kind? Are we teaching people to make a difference in a positive way? So let's talk about some of these statistics. 36.5% of people feel that they have been cyberbullied in their lifetime. 17.4% of people have reported that it has happened to them some point in the last 30 days. So, in the last month, people feel like they have been attacked. They have been bullied in some sort of way by some sort of media platform. So these are statistics taken from every type of generation, every type of background, every type of ethnicity, every type of user platform. This is a global network. Yes, this is a global statistic. Okay, sorry, you asked about that and I should have clarified. We are in global statistics now. So you think about, you pull from, let's just say, what if you talk to 100 teenagers? The average is that 17% of them feel like in the last 30 days they've been bullied. Take 100 people. Ask them, do you feel like you've been attacked? 17 of them tell you yes. It's tough. Especially in the last 30 days, right? So you think about where we're at in a society. The society tells you that it's okay. It's okay to be ugly. It's okay to bully people. It's okay to try to influence people in a negative way. People experience that. People live with that. People deal with that. And they deal with it in all kinds of ways, all different types of ways, all different scenarios, all different backgrounds, all different support systems. Most of the time, people aren't going to talk about it. 60% of teenagers experience some sort of cyberbullying. I don't have a teenager yet. I have a 10 and a 7-year-old. I don't have a teenager. So I can't stand up here and tell you that I know the struggles of having a teenager in my home. I was in youth ministry for 14 years. And one of the strangest things about youth ministry to me is when people that were in your youth group start getting married, and then you perform their wedding ceremony. Then you go to the hospital when they have their own children and all of a sudden you feel like a grandparent in some sort of way, right? It happens so fast. I've been dealing with teenagers for a long time. And over the course of 14 years, the struggles that they have changed. The way that they interacted changed. I went from putting out youth letters and calendars every month to sending them group me messages with the calendars in them. I went from driving church vans and Explorers and different things like that to driving 25 passenger buses. Things change. The kids change. Their needs change. But what hasn't changed for the better is the negative influence that surrounds them every single day. It continues to get worse. When 60% of teenagers polled say that they have experienced some sort of cyberbullying, where does that come from? What do you think is the number one leading cause behind teenagers bullying other teenagers? Sin? Yeah. That's a good one. Where do you think their driving force comes from? Jealousy? That's a very big one. There was a statistic we had a few years ago, and we stopped using it because we questioned the accuracy of it. But somewhere around 44% of teenagers that we polled said that they felt like they were being bullied inside of their own home. So it was their retaliation. That's how they grew up. That's what they knew. I don't tell you that as a state of fact because, like I said, we stopped using that statistic because there's no way to really judge the accuracy of it. But still to hear people say, I get picked on at home. It's just the norm for us. Now, I will tell you this, okay, and Chapel will back this up. I'm a pretty sarcastic fella, okay? I bleed sarcasm. I just do. But I never want to take that to a level that's you can't turn around from. You don't want to make kids feel like they have to bully other kids to keep up with what's being done to them. 60% of teenagers say they feel like they've been bullied. We've got a problem. 70% of teenagers have reported someone spreading rumors about them online. 80% of young people have been cyberbullied. 80% of young people that have been seen cyberbullying, this occurs online. 90% of teenagers are connected to the internet, and 85% of them are using social media. So, what that means, 95% of teenagers are connected to the internet. That means they have internet capabilities inside of their home. Whether it's on their smartphone, whether it's on some sort of computer inside the home, a smart TV, whatever the case might be, 95% of teenagers are connected to the internet. And 85% of them are on social media. So, I'm a baseball guy, right? Huge baseball fan. I'm a Cubs fan. I'm a Grizzlies fan. I'm a Titans fan. I'm a glutton for punishment when it comes to Major League sports, right? If a baseball player hits 300 for his career, what is he? Hall of Famer. No question about it. No doubt, no discussion, first ballot Hall of Famer. 3 out of 10. 8 out of 10 teenagers are on social media. They see it. They see everything that we want them to see. They see everything that we don't want them to see. I had one of the kids in my former youth group text me 2 days ago. And he said, hey, what do you think about this deal with Russia and the Ukraine? Because everything that I'm reading says, and he listed off his ideas. I said, where'd you get your information on this? And so he sent me this whole block of places, websites that he had visited, like trying to research information off of the other page. And he had just kind of gone down this rabbit trail of trying to pull this information to see what was happening, trying to find the most accurate information. I said, how much time did you spend on this? And he said, solid 3 hours. I was like, what are you doing? In 3 hours? You're 17 years old. Go outside or something. So their connection is limitless. They can find anything that they want to find. It's our job to protect them. They can engage in conversation with anybody that they want to. It is our job to protect them. It's going to lead to some uncomfortable conversations when we know that our kids are either the recipient of some type of bullying or they are delivering some type of bullying. Now, there are some great kids in the world. I've seen them, worked with them, loved them, and that's never a problem. They're the encouraging ones, and hopefully this pew of great people right here that I'm looking at, they fall into that category. But the realistic idea is there's a lot of mean kids out there. There's a lot of mean adults as well. You don't believe me? Go to a youth league ball field. I umpired for 1 year. Listen, I don't claim to have the thickest skin, but I was in ministry for 14 years. Okay, you can't break me. All right? I can handle it. I couldn't handle being an umpire. I couldn't do it. There are mean adults out there. First game I ever called. This is a funny story, and I love to share this story. First game I ever called. First batter gets up to bat. His name is Landon McCain. Okay, Landon gets up to bat, and guess what he does? Clears one right over the fence. Just boom, just a moonshot. Awesome. So I'm behind home plate. So what do you do when someone hits a home run and you're the umpire? Give them the old, hey, round the bases thing. The first thing I hear from the opposing stands, I guess if my kid went to Shiloh, he'd have hit a home run too. What are you talking about? Like, the kid went to church with, he's in my youth group. I have no influence over him hitting a baseball. You want to talk about mean adults? Go to a youth league ball game, okay? They're there. The discussion is there. The impact is there. The things that we say and the things that we do and how we conduct ourselves online predicts a lot of what the young people behind us will do. So many kids bully because they are bullied. So many kids receive bullying because they're just nice kids. And so they get picked on. Or maybe they're quiet, so they get picked on. So many of these kids deal with stuff that we really have no idea. So this came from the Pew Research Center. This is what we just talked about. 95% of teens are connected to the internet. 85% are social media users. That's according to the Pew Research Center. All right, let's look at this one very quickly. Where are people cyberbullied the most? So we talked about Instagram prides itself on being the most protected social media platform. It is where kids are cyberbullied the most. So you talk about 90% of Facebook profile users are ads. They're companies predicting pushing their ads out. That's how they sell Instagram to us as parents. Hey, it's okay. 90% of our users are business users. They're not going to put anything bad out there. Nothing's going to happen. You can go in, you can log in. Here's our protection. Here's our terms of agreement. 42% of teenagers say that they are bullied. If they have received bullying, they say that it comes from Instagram. 37% on Facebook, 31% on Snapchat, 12% on WhatsApp, 10% on YouTube, 9% on Twitter. Main reasons for cyberbullying. So, religion is 11%, financial status is 15%, sexuality is 15%, race is 17%, academic achievement is 25%. This other category falls in 20%. Appearance, 61%. People are getting bullied because of how they look. I tell kids all the time, especially kids that would come into my office upset because somebody said something about the way that they looked. I always had this go-to, right? So I'm going to share it with you. I always had this go-to when kids come to me and they were upset about the way that they looked. I have a built-in credit card reader. Okay, you ready for this? Look, watch this. See? Right there. Okay? Okay. Debit or credit, which one you want? Okay, just swipe it. Let's go. I got a built-in credit card reader. It's okay. You can laugh. You don't have to hold it. Kids need encouragement. Kids need to be taught that, and they are so loved. And they're so influential. I get emotional when I start talking about kids and the way that we need to love them, because I lost my dad very early on in life. I was 12. Very influential time in my life. A point in my life when I needed a dad to be around. I needed a fishing buddy. I needed somebody to celebrate my victories on the baseball diamond. I needed somebody to share that. And Mom did the best she could, but she just didn't get baseball. My dad loved the Braves. I hate them. I've always been a Cubs guy. I have anybody to support that with me. So when I talk about my kids, I talk about how much I love them, it pains me to know that sometimes when I'm not around, I don't know what they hear. I don't know what's being said to them. I don't know what's being talked about. I don't know. I don't know. But what I do know is I can take steps to try to help. I can take steps to try to make them better. These are the results of kids that felt cyberbullied. 9% begin abusing alcohol or drugs. 14% develop an eating disorder. 20% start skipping class, 24% stop using social media altogether. 25% of them engage in self-harm. 26% delete their social media profiles. 26% had suicidal thoughts. I honestly thought that number would be higher. 37% develop depression, and 41% develop social anxiety. So, I don't have time to go through all these, but one thing that we have to be conscious of, there are several of these, and like I said, I'll give this whole PowerPoint slide to you, and you can share it with whoever you want. You can put it on your page or whatever. Share it with whoever you want. But the first thing we have to do is we have to be directly asking our kids what they use, what their friends use, or what they would like to be using. If they mention a platform and you're not familiar with it, ask your child to show you what it is. Should you see something concerning, feel free to ask them more. In the early stages, it's more about showing them that they're speaking to you safely and that they can openly share things with you. Educate yourself on the platforms that are out there. Once you've begun a dialogue with your child or your children, it's important that you do your own research. Okay? Here are all the important social media apps that every parent should know. Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, Snapchat, Instagram, Tumblr, Kick, Ask.fm, which is really gaining some steam. You want to talk about dangerous? We can talk about this one in a little bit. That one's pretty tough. And Reddit. Reddit is a very unique forum. You can post any kind of content on there you want. 3 secret apps that parents should know. The first one is the private photo vault. If you see this on your kid's phone, you need to get into it immediately. Okay? Monitor your child's phone. Okay? Make sure that you have access to it. If they have a passcode on it, it should probably be a passcode that you developed for them. And if you go to get into that phone and it doesn't have the same passcode, you better figure out why and not let them do anything until they open that phone for you. The private photo vault has caused so many problems. You can download and save and take any picture you want, and keep it here, and it's locked up. And without a passcode, they cannot get into it. This one is probably the most popular one, right? The best secret folder. So it has a microphone, a smiley face, looks like you've got some food options, looks like a game of tic-tac-toe. You can download this on the Apple Store, you can download it on Android, you can download the Google Play Store, you can download this thing anywhere. It also has a protection code on it. So if you go to click on this app or this function on your smartphone device or your tablet, whatever, you go to click on this, it's going to require a code to get into it. There's also one that's very similar, and it's a calculator. Okay? And it has some kind of fancy name. It's like, and they've changed it over the last couple of months. So I think right now it's pro tip calculator. Almost makes it look like you're tipping someone at a restaurant. You go to clock into it, you have to log into it with a code. Now, don't get confused. There are tip calculators out there, and we use them a lot to make sure we tip the waitress the right amount. But the pro tip calculator, there is one that is a private one. If you see one that requires a code to get into, that's the one that you need to get into. And this last one, okay, it went away. Vaulty. Okay, this is just like a private photo vault. And it's very confusing because if you just kind of look at it, it gives a very similar resemblance to Netflix. Okay, if you just look at it real quickly, you think, oh, that's just a Netflix icon, nothing to see there. You click on this bad boy, you can't get into it without a passcode. This is not a number code. This is a full-on password. Okay? The most important thing I can tell you, and this is the last one, and then I'll let us go because I know I'm up against the time. You are in control of the privacy settings on your child's phone. You control everything they do. You can control their phone to shut off at a certain time. They cannot access certain things at a certain time. Or just pull it out of their bedroom. Don't let them go to their bedroom with their phone. Okay? Don't let them do that. Because if they're anything like our boys, they'll just sit there and look at the wall for a couple hours. You give them something in their hand, they'll stay awake all night. And when I'm in there, cutting logs or whatever, I don't know what they're looking at. You control the privacy on their phone. You should be able to see everything that your child is doing. You go back to Snapchat, okay? Y'all ever heard of private stories? Yeah, y'all know what private stories are. I know what private stories are. If you ever go to your child's Snapchat, if you allow them to have Snapchat, that's up to you. Okay, I'm never going to be the guy that stands up here and tells you, you shouldn't let your kid have this one, this one, this one. That's your call. You're their guardian. You provide for them. My job this morning is to simply tell you what could happen, what to look for. So you go to social media, you go to Snapchat especially, you can get into a private story. Tell your kids to show them their Snapchat. Let them show it to you. You can find it. It's real easy. It says private story on the bottom. If they've got one of those, you need to check it out. Okay? All right. I have a lot more to go over, a lot more to cover, but I've just ran out of time and I apologize. But I'm going to give this all to you guys here. You can download it, use it, abuse it, however you want to take it and make it beneficial for you. Okay? Sound good? Thank you for your attention. Any questions or comments you got, please hit me up afterwards and I'll be happy to talk to you about this stuff.